Rajdeep, first phase of polling, 89 seats. I would reckon traditionally this should have been the strong suit of the Congress, keeping in mind Saurashtra with its 48 seats. But the BJP wants to flip that Saurashtra vote if it wants to get to that proverbial holy grail figure of 127, their own career best.
Look, Gujarat is a strange state because Saurashtra is an original BJP bastion. It's only 2017 where the tables were turned.
2012, sir, as the stocks of the BJP went up, Saurashtra it fell.
But overall, except for the last election, the BJP has always been ahead of the Congress in Saurashtra. They have been behind. At times, the original Congress bastions were in South Gujarat, and here where we are in Central Gujarat. Now, Central Gujarat has become a BJP bastion. So the Congress needs to do well in Saurashtra and South Gujarat because Central Gujarat will be tough for the Congress to then make up. North Gujarat is where the Congress will have more than half a chance, where their traditional, original caste alliance would work. My sense is because of the Aam Aadmi Party emerging as an X factor precisely in the two regions that are going to the polls today, Saurashtra and South Gujarat, it changes some of the political equations because we don't know how much of vote share the Aam Aadmi Party will actually get, and importantly, whose vote share is it getting. The sense one gets is that they are taking votes, particularly in Saurashtra, from the Congress. This is my belief that the Congress is the one which will suffer because of the entry of the AAP in Saurashtra and to some extent even in the tribal parts of Gujarat, because these were areas where if the anti-incumbency or the anti-incumbency vote gets split, the BJP could still pull through in seats which they lost in 2017, even though when you travel on the ground, there is clearly anger against the failure of government schemes on the ground.
You're right. There is anger where government schemes are concerned, but I would reckon this is a fight of two identities. One, which above the anger identifies with Narendra Modi, who's homeboy Gujarat, and he seems to be overpowering a lot of these factors, even in Saurashtra. But you're talking about the Aam Aadmi Party, Rajdeep, and we'll come right back to that, is for many of us on ground, if there's a political disruptor like Aam Aadmi Party, it's very difficult to gauge in terms of the impact it will have on ground. We saw that the first time around in Punjab where they came. They seemed to be having a lot of groundswell for them, but it didn't translate into votes. Do you see this as a similar fashion going down where Saurashtra, where they wanted to be strong in, could practically be nurtured as their Malwa in the next election?
Possibly, but where they're likely possibly to win seats are in and around Surat. I was just seeing someone who's doing micromanagement for one of the parties showing me some of the seats which the AAP could win, and they include seats primarily in and around Surat which they can win. Varacha, for example, Gopal Italia seat, the AAP president.
He's drawing huge crowds.
He's drawing huge crowds, and therefore the Patidar anger that existed among the youth in 2017, some of that has shifted to the Aam Aadmi Party in South Gujarat. And those are the seats where they could win. The question is, this I don't think is an election for the AAP to win as much as it is an election for the AAP to make a statement that hum bhi hai, and we have captured the narrative. I think one of the achievements of the AAP in this election has been the manner in which they have been able to create this kind of buzz around their narratives, forcing the Prime Minister to call it Revdi culture, and focusing public attention on issues like education and health. I mean, education is a major issue in Gujarat at the moment for anyone who travels outside urban Gujarat. Right. You go to places where, I was in Viramgam yesterday, not too far away from here in Ahmedabad, and all the jobs, according to the locals, were going to non-locals because the locals were not skilled enough. And that really is a concern. Lack of skill development, lack of speaking skills, lack of mathematical skills for young students. These are all serious issues which, to AAP's credit, they raised and pushed the BJP on the defensive. The BJP in the last 2 weeks or the last month has brought their A-team here, and once the BJP brings their A-team in Gujarat, it's very difficult to combat them. Someone made an interesting point to me that there are, for every 30 voters in Gujarat, there are 5 BJP karyakartas. Number of families, in every family in Gujarat there will be, or every second family, there will be some BJP karyakarta out there. So it's an overwhelming presence, and defeating the BJP is not easy in Gujarat. Therefore, this phase will tell us just how well the BJP could do, because if they start doing well in Saurashtra and pick up seats in South Gujarat, then 120 plus, 130 plus could be possible.
Their way. All those issues you spoke about, and those are the issues that echo once you leave the traditional stronghold urban pockets of the Bharatiya Janata Party. We're going to talk a bit, Rajdeep, on the Congress's campaign. Haven't seen any big faces, but that could have possibly worked better for the Congress. Do you think the silent campaign, the Nukkad Sabhas, the Gram Panchayats that the Congress is doing will actually bear fruit? Because even though some of their strong candidates have switched over to the BJP, but their local leadership at a grassroots level is still present and very much kicking.
Absolutely. The Congress has high brand recall value in the first instance in Gujarat, especially among the older generation, and has strong local candidates. A lot of their candidates, more so I would say in the north and to some extent in Saurashtra and the tribal belt, have been around in politics for 20-30 years. The Congress's problem has been each individual leader finds it impossible to work as a collective. So everyone is doing his or her own setting. The word in Gujarat uses setting. So each Congress politician is looking, mera setting kaise hoga, mere district mein, mere constituency mein. As a result, the Congress, I think, doesn't have a pan-Gujarat appeal or a pan-Gujarat plan in place. And when you don't have that, it makes life, difficult for the party. Having said that, I think they've seriously tried to localize this election, not make it Modi versus Rahul, try and make this election about local issues. And, they've taken a leaf out of the BJP's book. They've got a very active WhatsApp groups that are working at booth level. So they've realized the importance of booth management. And, the problem for them is the lack of a strong narrative. Every time a lot of Congress voters say, vote unko denge, lekin ये भरोसा नहीं है कि वो रहेंगे या फिर किसी बीजेपी में जाएंगे. That's another thing that the AAP has done. They've created a sense of mistrust amongst Congress voters whether their leader will actually stay with the Congress. I still believe that the Congress is a strong organization in certain parts of Gujarat, and thereby there are a dozen seats which they will almost certainly win. And 30.
This mistrust is also not unfounded because a lot of, the strongest players where you come to the Congress have switched over. Some just 5 days before the ticket distribution was going on. But I'll come to one quick question, Rajdeep, and that has to do with, we've spoken about local issues. We've spoken about party dynamics in terms of the Aam Aadmi Party querying the political pitch, the Congress's silent campaign. But above all is there's one X factor, and that is Modi. No matter where you go, the echo of Modi is way too strong.
It's a fascinating election because it's anti-incumbency genuinely at the ground against local MLAs, to some extent against the state government, but there is no anti-incumbency against Mr. Modi. In fact, there is a pro-incumbency. So you ask someone, says paper leak hua hai, raste barabar nahi kiye, water projects humko nahi mile hain.
To strengthen Modi's hand.
But hame Modi ji to chahiye hi. And it's also interesting, and this is reflected in the seeming anti-incumbency against some Congress sitting MLAs. A lot of the projects are not given to the Congress MLA's constituency, and they go to the neighboring MLA's constituency. So the voter sees ki, this whole double engine sarkar actually works against the opposition and works in favor of the BJP, not because the government in Gandhinagar is necessarily effective, but the government in Gandhinagar is selective. So you will have in Viramgam, where there is a Congress MLA, he says, mere yahan water project nahi aaya, but bagal ki constituency mein mil gaya. So, the BJP, because Mr. Modi is such a, it's a craze for Mr. Modi, particularly among younger Gujaratis who've seen no one else in the last 25 years. He remains this larger-than-life figure. So he is able to arrest the anti-incumbency that exists against even BJP MLAs. And BJP has very intelligently changed almost 50% of their candidates. And when you spoke just now about Congress candidates switching over, they've cherry-picked those Congress candidates who they think who can win an election. So it's winnability above all. So it's Modi, Moditva, Hindutva, and a weak divided opposition. Makes it seem difficult for me to believe that the opposition can even offer the kind of challenge that they did in 2017 when, they really ran the BJP very, very close.